Mass media distraction, war. How are these things connected? To find out, join us at the Grassroots Connection, Monday through Friday, 7 to 8 p.m. on WOIC, 1230 a.m.
Everybody knows. Everybody knows. That's how it goes.
And welcome back to the Grassroots Connection, where we provide the information you need to make an informed decision. And today we have a special guest who wants to remain anonymous. We'll just call her Jay, and Jay is a former employee of BP who has been poisoned by BP, directly spraying Corexit on her and her husband. So we're kind of covering some of the things that they're having to go through down there in the Gulf, trying to find some justice. All right, so let's get right back into it. We have our guest potted up here. And, Jay, are you still there?
I am.
Great. There was a question before we came back in from break that one of the callers mentioned NOAA, and whether or not you and your husband have been assisted in any way by the national, National Organization for something. NOAA.
Right. We've recently spoken to NOAA, and I'm not at liberty to discuss anything about what they're doing or want to do because I'm not quite sure what they can do at this time. It's to get people to cooperate with them, and apparently a lot of the people that need to be cooperating with them are being paid off or are being kept hush-hush, let's just say that.
Right.
So it's going to take a Christian or someone to have a turnaround to say, well, this isn't right. I wish to no longer participate this way and do what's right. Because we had to sleep. We had to rest and we got sprayed. We didn't want to. We didn't ask to. But God does not sleep. So something's got to happen good. And with prayers and people's prayer, we can change things.
Absolutely. Were you aware of the highly toxic nature of Corexit when you were kind of hired on by BP to become a cleanup worker? Did they give you an MSDS and safety equipment and all that?
I'm surprised I didn't think of that earlier. They are publicly stating that the Corexit is soap. It's mixtures of soap and cleaning products.
Yeah, but that's all horse pucky. You know, that's all
we know
bull.
that now.
Yeah.
We know that now, and we did not know that then. We were told everything was fine. We were given Tyvek suits and gloves, but they did not give respirating masks. It's unreal. They didn't even give the proper training. When I come to think of it, that the training they gave us did not prepare us for what they did. They should have trained us to protect ourselves from the elements they were going to use rather than what we were told no elements would be sprayed. And we would not even be in the areas it was sprayed. That all the oil, fishermen would work until every drop of oil was removed. They're not doing that. They're realizing they don't want to pay the money it's costing them. They wanting to get out of it. And they do receive a fine for every gallon of oil they spill in that Gulf. And they figure if they can sink it with the Corexit, there's no real way of tabulating the proper amount. They still have to pay, but nothing of what they would have had to spray had it been, retrieved like we were doing it.
Right. Now, could you say that one more time? And I'm going to turn the volume up because I don't think that people really hear you. The fact is, say that again, is that the oil is under the water. Just one more time. I'm sorry. I want you to say it one more time because I want them to really hear you. I don't know if they're hearing you.
The Corexit causes the oil to sink. Therefore, there's no real way of tabulating the exact amount of oil that was dispersed. And BP receives a fine for every gallon of oil that is spilled. So if they sink that oil and there's no real tabulation of the spillage amount, then they get away without paying a lot of money.
Well, yeah, they get away with murder, basically. Murder. I'm serious, because they know that the Corexit is highly toxic. We know that BP was aware in 1978 that Corexit was highly toxic, and actually where they sprayed it on other oil spills, that those ecosystems have yet to come back. I mean,
Exactly.
so we're looking at now beyond 3 decades, and those ecosystems and the fish have not come back. They knew this stuff was horribly toxic.
Mr. Andre, it's pretty strange that it's not legal to spray in their country.
Right. That's
So they
the
come
really
to our
damning
country.
thing, you know.
Exactly.
That's what really nails their coffin, is the fact that it's been banned in England, yet they come here knowing that it's highly toxic. They didn't train you. Just basic common sense. I've worked for chemical plants, and I got to tell you, the first thing they do is tell you everything that could possibly cause you cancer, and then get you to sign a waiver stating that you're perfectly aware of it.
Right,
So,
and there are ex-workers that, upon dismissal of their vessel, when they were let go on very larger boats, like tugboats and stuff, that they wanted them to sign releases that they had no pictures, no, they will not speak of it, they cannot discuss it, and they cannot divulge any information or anything they've seen. Now, if you're going to do that, what are you trying to hide?
You're covering something up, and that's
Exactly.
one reason I have to take my hat off to you and your husband, because you do have the courage to speak out. Even though I know that there are many in your area that are just basically either afraid that they may be sued by BP or are taking the money and just shutting up. So,
a lot of them too feel it's a no-win situation. It doesn't pay because no one's listening, and then they're targeted, and but we have got to unite. We've got to get together. We've got to do something, and it's going to take more than the people of Louisiana, South Louisiana, Mississippi, Florida. It's going to take uniting of our country.
absolutely.
We need to take our country back and show them our rights are very important to us, and they can't come from their country, destroy us, insult our intelligence by making us believe all this absurd information they're trying to call the bluff on us. And like I said, I'd like to end with a question. If there are skeptics, just pose the question to yourself. Compare. There are no comparison with the spillage, but compare the situation in Alaska over 20 years later to the situation here. How can a 2-day ordeal be over 20 years in the making, Exxon still there liable, and BP is going to try to tell us 100 days of spillage is in the final stages of the process. There's no way. Common sense tells anyone better than that.
Well, anyone who's still skeptical about your story should just go back and look at the claims of BP at the beginning of the spill. They lied then. They're continuing to lie. I don't see them telling the truth at any stage. So
they don't speak.
Well, yeah, and also another thing you mentioned, we need to take our country back, and a lot of people, see that as partisan rhetoric. I don't. I see that corporations utterly rule the United States, and if you don't believe me, then why is the Obama administration allowing BP, a foreign actor, a state-owned megacorp, to come into the Gulf and spray poison on its own people? I mean, we got the President of the United States sanctioning the spraying of his own people. Tell me that we don't need to take our country back from these corporations. Explain
Absolutely.
to me how that can happen.
And not only taking the jobs away from the fishermen to recoup for wages and loss, they are giving cleanup jobs to people that are not legal citizens. I can vouch for that 110%. And
I believe it. I believe
that
it.
have no legal Social Security numbers, that when they go to cash their paychecks, they can't because their Social Security is not in existence. And our tax dollars, people, including yours, will pay tax increase in your state as well as ours for the loss the government's going to recoup. They're not paying taxes on this money, and they won't. And who's going to have to pay that loss? The people here dying, the people there that will have maybe a future of getting ill, or just the thought of you your hard-earned money, having to pay their ignorance down here that they're trying to pass, would really, really get me upset.
Oh, yeah.
If I were people out there listening.
Well, you're doing a good job just telling the truth. I mean, it's so ugly all by itself that you don't need to embellish. I mean, it's pretty bad.
As for people saying it might be bipartisan or whatever it was that you said, I'm a legal citizen of this country. My uncle died fighting in the war for my freedom, and part of my freedom is freedom of speech.
That's right.
I want to live. I want to live, and other people want to live. It's by far beyond the wage loss now. We just want to get medical help, and BP's not even giving us a voice to speak to on another phone line to get help.
Yeah, they don't care.
And the numbers they give us are all voicemail, cell phone numbers. This is absurd.
Well, Jay, I really think that we're not going to get BP's attention until some of the local officials start putting cuffs on those guys. That's what needs to happen. And
hopefully when they see officials from other states saying, hey, what's going on there? Oh, wait, maybe they'll think this is out. This is bigger. Now what are we going to do? Somebody's got to step up to the plate.
Absolutely.
They've got to.
Yep.
And what's scary is they've even had pregnant women out there working that on beaches that I've seen cleaning up. Now, if they're telling these people it's safe, this is unreal.
Well,
unreal.
It's criminal negligence, especially if they know that it is not safe. And, according to Dr. Ott and several other marine biologists and toxicologists in the area.
We met with her yesterday. They had a meeting. And I'll tell you this, it's really, really scary to think, what does BP have to lose? They're richer than some countries. And I will tell you, people, the dispersing elements, they own these companies. It's a circle. They're getting the money all right back, and they're not wanting to pay it out.
That's
but
correct.
They're spending more money in paying people to hush and go away and just simply disappear. That if they put it into our help, our care, our wage law, getting it back the way it was, it'll never happen. But they can show us that, show us some humanity.
Well,
we're not garbage to be thrown away.
That's what I am very upset about. I see these things as crimes against humanity, even down to the local beat cop who's taking a little stipend from BP to, get rid of the reporters down there.
Right. And knowing, yes, sir, knowing what they were going to do, that's all premeditated.
Absolutely. So we've got a lot of things to really, really look at. Besides this election, whoever we put into power, how are they going to handle this situation? We've got our neighbors, our family down there being poisoned to death, the local officials covering it up, even though their family's being poisoned too. They just took the money and decided to let it ride, I'm not willing to let it ride, and I won't shut up. And we're going to continue on with these interviews until somebody either gets some shame or some balls and gets down there and starts taking charge. BP they need to be arrested. They need to be in chains. And, until I see anybody doing that, I'm not voting for anybody. I don't think any of you guys deserve my vote. You're letting my neighbors and my friends and my family die out there, and you want me to contribute to your campaign. You got to be kidding.
Exactly.
You got to be kidding.
Thank you so much. We really do. It's sad that we have to go all the way to your state there for our voice to be heard. It really is, but it's great to have you, and we could not thank you more.
Well, hey, it's the least I can do, and we will be putting your interview.
In fact, we've been praying for angels, and you truly believe you are that angel.
Well, thank you so much. I don't know if many around South Carolina would agree with you, but when I see crimes against humanity, I cannot stand silent. I just can't do it.
Then you've also heard the saying, if somebody doesn't like you possibly or doesn't like what you're doing, then you could be doing something right, ruffling feathers. That's
right. Yeah, I must be doing something right. But again, we're going to post these interviews after the show. They'll be in the GRC radio archives, and they'll be going all over the world. So I want people to take these videos after I get them up and post them everywhere. You can embed them, you can link them, you can do whatever you want with them. but please do something. Get this
Pass
message
them
out.
along.
Pass them along.
And
Absolutely.
anytime you want us back, we'll be glad to come back.
Well,
Just give us a call.
Thank you so much, Jay, for your courage and your, just basic humanity and standing out.
Andre. Thank you, Miss Andre, and thank any and everyone that gave us their ears.
Absolutely. All right.
Let's
well.
hope